Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So here we are going into May already in 2021, and I feel like summer is going to be here before we know it, and not the biggest fan of summer, but the quicker that we can get through summer, the quicker Halloween will be here. So today I'm going to go over my May TBR with you guys. I have several books on this list that I'm really excited about, and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. So the first one is The Last House on Needless Street by Catroina Ward. And I believe I told you guys when I unboxed this one that I'm super stoked to read it. It's so funny because, you know, it's nothing fantastic by the synopsis, but I'm just so intrigued by it. So I had this one on my list for 2021 new releases, but luckily it was included in our April Abominable book box, and I was so excited to see this one in here. It says on the front, I haven't read anything this exciting since Gone Girl. So it was blurbed by Stephen King, and I won't go into the synopsis because I did so a couple of videos back when I unboxed it. But really excited to get into this one, and for sure I will do a full review for you guys on the channel once I'm done. So next up is Home for the Haunting by Juliet Blackwell, and this is just a tiny little paperback, and I was trying to get to this one last year during Halloween season, but I couldn't fit it in. So excited to get to this one now. It's been one that I've wanted to read now for quite some time. So here we follow a contractor named Mel, and she is overseeing the building of a new house, and the house that's next door is reportedly haunted, and the kids in the town call it the murder house. So as volunteers are cleaning out a shed, they find another body, and it says on here, Mel notices signs of ghostly activity next door, and she wonders, are the murder house ghosts reaching out to her for help, or has the house claimed another victim? So this sounds really intriguing to me. Like I said, I've wanted to get to it for a while, and you know, can't beat the haunted house. Of course, that's my favorite trope, so excited to get to this one. And then the last two physical books that I have on this list are some vintage YA 90s horror, and I've been loving sticking a couple of these into my TBRs over the last couple of months. They just bring me so much joy and so much nostalgia, and you know, reading them, I just find that books these days aren't written quite like the ones from the 80s and 90s. I'm not sure if that's because it was the era that I grew up in, or if there's just something a little bit different with books from that time. So the first one that I have is a Fear Street. So we have Haunted, and it has the most amazing illustration on the front here with this cool looking dude who looks like he's straight out of the 90s. And it says on the front, there's a prowler in Melissa's room, but is he dead or alive? So apparently there's been a prowler that has been going around Fear Street, and the community is a little bit on edge, and Melissa is experiencing the prowler as well, but she also is experiencing a haunting. So her new car is driving as if someone else has taken control, her birthday presents are ripped open by unseen hands, and an invisible force is trying to push her out the bedroom window. So we have, you know, a creepy prowler, we have a haunting, and I'm sure those two are intertwined, and I'm just really excited to get to this one. I'm not sure if this one is one that I read when I was a kid, or if it's something that's completely new to me. I can't recall ever reading this one, but either way, I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy it. And then the last physical book here I have is a Nightmare Hall book. So this is The Nightwalker by Diane. And I've said it before that I love the covers on these Nightmare Hall books. The bricks of the building and the title are embossed, and they have these great die-cut covers. So you have the window, and then you open it up to a ghastly scene inside. So if you don't know anything about Nightmare Hall, it wasn't quite as popular as the Goosebumps and the Fear Street. It was a spin-off series to the Point horror books. And funny enough, when I was a kid, I've mentioned this before, I didn't read any of the Point horror, but I read a lot of the Nightmare Hall. So it says here, high on a hillside overlooking Salem University, hidden in the shadows and shrouded in silence, sits Nightingale Hall. Nightmare Hall, the students call it, because that's where the terror began. So this particular story follows Quinn, And Quinn is a new student, and she's pretty sure she's the only one at the university who is a sleepwalker. And shortly after she arrives at the university, other students start being attacked at night. And of course, no one knows who it is, but all of the clues are pointing to Quinn as being the perpetrator. And I can't remember a whole lot about this one, but I know this is one of the Nightmare Halls that I read over and over when I was a kid. And I'm hoping with doing this reread that I'm gonna relive all of the nostalgia and all of the love that I had for it when I was younger. So that's it for the physical books that I wanted to get to this month, and I also have 4 ebooks that I would like to read. So the first one is Frozen Charlotte by Alex Bell, and I've heard so many good things about this book. I've wanted to get to it for quite some time. I believe this is a duology. There's 2 in this series, and it centers around creepy dolls, and haunted houses and creepy dolls is just right up my alley. So the premise is that an old boarding school was reconverted into a home, and our main character Sophie goes to the boarding school home to spend some time with her cousins for the summer, and things start to get pretty creepy. So it says here, there's one cousin, the girl with the room full of antique dolls, the girl who shouldn't be there, the girl who died. So we've got some spookiness, creepy dolls, an old boarding house that got converted into a home, and so this is just ticking all of the boxes for me by the sounds of it. So really excited to get to this one. So next up on the list is Twisted, Tainted Tales by Janine Pipe, and this is a short story collection, and it is Janine's debut collection, and she also has a channel over here on YouTube as well, so I'll link that down below so you guys can go check her out. And this book just sounds fantastic, but I mean, just look at this cover. The cover art is just spectacular. Unfortunately, I could only get an ebook copy here in Canada. I'm gonna keep my eye out for if this is released in paperback. I'm hoping that it is, because I'd really like to have one for the collection. So this is, like I said, it's a collection of short stories that are all fantastically gruesome. It says here, in Twisted, Tainted Tales, the Splatterpunk Award nominee delivers creature features, supernatural urban legends, cannibalism, and a few other surprises. Mixing flash fiction with short stories, these tales might be tainted and will be twisted. So I'm so excited for Janine and for this collection, and it's going to be available on May the 1st. And another new release out this month is The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. And we all know that Darcy Coates is the queen of creepy cozy, but this book is a little bit different from her other ones because, number one, it's the first in a series, and I believe this is the first series that she has written. And the other thing is that it takes place in a cemetery, and for me, I have an undying love of graveyards. You guys know that I grew up in an old creepy haunted Victorian, and just to put the cherry on top, it was directly across the street from one of the oldest graveyards in St. John's, and it was probably my favorite hangout. So if my parents couldn't find me, then I was most likely over in the graveyard. So this book just sounds so good to me. So here we follow a young woman named Kira, and she is homeless, and she's also stuck out in a raging storm. So she finds shelter in an old groundskeeper's cabin on the edge of a cemetery, and soon after she finds refuge there, she starts hearing ghostly voices and starts seeing spectral shapes floating amongst the headstones. So one particular spirit is of a woman who died far before her time, and Kira is the only one who can see her. But also on the other end, this spirit decides to make Kira her new target. And in order to help this spirit find peace and cross over, Kira starts to dig into the past. And it says that she discovers a history of deception, ill-fated love, and murder. And that's kind of where our story starts. So like I said, super excited for this one as well. You know, old creepy graveyards is another one of my loves. So this one is going to be out on May 4th, and it is available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have that, you can go in and pre-order, and it'll be delivered to your Kindle on May the 4th. So the last ebook that I wanted to get to this month is Dead Daughters by Tim Meyer, and this is another one that I've heard fantastic things about, so really excited to get to this one. And in this story we follow Drew, and he's kind of living an idyllic life in suburban America, and he has a wonderful family and a beautiful daughter, but one day he finds a blank envelope in his mail, and when he opens it up he finds a picture of his daughter and her violent murder. But Drew knows that he had just put his daughter to bed not 10 minutes before opening the envelope, so he knows that she's alive and well. But as this is happening, he finds out that his little girl is also being followed as she goes to school, and there's a prowler that lurks underneath her window at night, and at one point someone actually does get into her room while the family is sleeping and nobody knows that they were there. So totally creepy. The police don't have any viable leads or suspects, and of course Drew starts to launch into an investigation of his own to figure out who is stalking his daughter. So I think this one is going to be a really fast-paced sort of crime fiction novel that has lots of twists and turns, and I'm really hoping that that lives up to that. And like I said, I've heard lots and lots of good things about this one as well. So there you guys go. That is everything that I wanted to read in May. Let me know if you guys are planning on reading any of these new releases that I mentioned. And please, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below, because you know I love chatting with you guys. But until next time, stay spooky everybody. Bye.